Welcome to Like a Champion. I'm your host, Jaden Johnson, and I'm grateful you're joining me as we explore what it means to live like a champion. Hey, welcome to the show. I wanted to take today to explain why this podcast exists and how it came to be. So when I was thinking about podcasting originally, I was thinking I would do something outdoor themed. I like to hunt and fish. I like to be outside all the time. So I was thinking about doing that. I like to teach and I like to learn information. So I was also thinking about doing a research-based podcast where I teach. And I even tossed up the idea of a music podcast where we talk about songwriting and different things in the music industry. But what I ultimately felt like I should do, and like I was led to do, was to create a space where we could be mindful together. See, we consume so much, but what do we do with all of the things that we consume? Most of us are in what they would call hustle culture, and I am, and most likely if you're listening to this, you are too, where you're hearing things that tell you to do more, to make more money, to learn more things, to have more of X, Y, or Z. And while I don't think that those things are bad, I actually think they're very good. If they are left unchecked, and if we keep consuming without reflecting, then it just becomes noise to us. It just becomes noise. So this podcast exists for us to create a space for mindfulness in a hustle culture. Things like, how can we steward what we have in a better way? Because I believe we have to honor what we've been given in order to appreciate what's coming. And you can hustle and do this. Being a part of this podcast doesn't mean you can't hustle anymore. But it means that we're going to try to champion everything that we have so that we can craft the life that we want on purpose. And this takes intentional thinking. This takes deep mindfulness. In a culture that preaches post more, build more, grow more, optimize more, automate more, none of those things are evil. Ambition isn't evil. As a matter of fact, ambition's a very good thing. But hustle and ambition without reflection just becomes noise to us. And noise produces anxiety, comparison, and shallow ambition. See, we don't want our ambition to be shallow. Those ambitions that you have should have purpose behind them. And if you have ambitions that don't have purpose behind them, that aren't linked to a greater purpose, then when you achieve those things, they're going to be very unfulfilling. Making more money is a great ambition to have. I have that ambition. But that has to be tied to a purpose. Because once you get the money, what will you do with it? Maybe you spend it on a house or cars or things. But past that, when you make enough to where you have the things that you want, what do you do with it? And these are the questions that we're going to ask and that we're going to go through together. And sometimes we'll talk about topics like living with integrity, living with purpose, or living an honorable life. And then sometimes we'll do exercises where we practice mindfulness, whether you're in the car, at the gym, whatever you're doing. I want this to be a space where you and I can practice thinking deeper about all of the things that we consume. Because I don't think that we have an input problem. I think that we have an integration problem. And what I mean by that is we don't have a problem putting the fork to our mouth with food. We have an issue digesting the food. And so we don't need more information. We just need more integration. We need to figure out how do all these things that we're listening to, whether it be social media, podcasts, mentors, whatever it is that you're listening to, how does this fit in to our lives? How does this fit into my real life? What do I actually do with all of this information? The other day I was with my brother, and we were coming back from New Mexico. We were going skiing, and we sat in the car. It was a 13-hour drive, and it turned into a 17-hour drive because of traffic in Dallas, and which is just absolutely absurd. If you've never driven through Dallas, it's insane. But we were listening to a podcast, and then my brother put on another podcast, and then another one. And we were sitting there, and I asked him, I said, what are you going to do with all of this information? And that led to a conversation about, it's great that we're hearing all of this content. And it's great that people are able to put it out there. And it's great that there's plenty of podcasts with information and with new ideas and with new technology and with all of these great things. But we have to realize that it's our job to integrate that into our life. It's our job to think about how that can impact us. And the only thing that can't be replaced by artificial intelligence, can't be replaced by somebody else, can't be replaced at all, is your ability to think. And so I want to bring this challenge to you and to myself to think deeper, to learn to stop for a moment throughout your week. And it might be 20 minutes in the week, but to learn to stop and to think about all of these things that you're trying to accomplish, all of these things that you've heard all week, the problems your kids are having, the problems your family's having, the things that your wife has told you throughout the week, the things that your boss has spoken to you throughout the week, all these things that just pile up and pile up and pile up, and some of us just let them explode because we have not taken the time to stop and to digest all of this information. And so Like a Champion exists to help you do just that, to practice mindfulness and to live on purpose. And I'm very, very thankful that you're here today, and I hope you'll join me on this journey, and we'll see you soon.